Hello and welcome everyone, it is me, Draval, also about to do this back for you with another deck profile, and this is a really fun one, something I've been looking forward to sharing with you guys. Something that came together during the Fusion event in Master Duel, funnily enough. Barrel Dragon, Meklord, Machina, or Machina, Meklord, Barrel Dragon, however you wanna, sequence these, it really doesn't matter. It's just a fun machine-based deck that has a lot of incidental synergy, which I enjoyed piloting a lot, and I think with the TCG adaptation of this, adding a very nice extra deck to this performs a lot better. So let's get right into it. Starting off, the main deck is the Barrel Dragon portion with Desperado Barrel Dragon. This is probably up there. It's one of my favorite cards. I really like this guy in design, how it keeps the original Barrel Dragon theming. This guy is able to put himself on the board from your hand if a face-up Dark Machine monster you control is destroyed in any way, shape, or form. And also once per battle phase, instead of attacking, this guy can toss 3 coins, and for each head, he can pop a face-up monster on the field. And if you got 3 heads, you can also draw one, which is rather neat. You also have a way to kind of manipulate that, which is rather nice. And then he can also add you a level 7 or lower monster that has a coin tossing effect from deck to hand if he is sent to the graveyard. There's a few neat interactions with that if you pitch him for like a Machina redeployment to add like a Twin Barrel Dragon or something. But yeah, he's a great card, one of your main bosses you want to summon. Sadly, due to the nature of this, you are mostly dependent on hard drawing him, but he is still absolutely awesome, really puts in some work, and it's just cool. He's just a really cool card. Continuing the Barrel Dragon theming are 2 copies of Blowback Dragon. One of your Heavy Metal Raiders targets this once per turn can target a card the opponent controls. You toss 3 coins. If you got 2 heads, you pop the card you targeted. Just some very neat additional removal, just a very nice body you can summon off your Heavy Metal Raiders. And I also still have the fancy UR one I got from a friend, so that's nice. Closing off like the, I guess, by name Barrel Dragons is 1 copy of Twin Barrel Dragon. This is just a one of you may be able to search off of a Desperado. Just a very nice, easy summon, because on summon you target a card the opponent controls. Toss 2 coins, if both results are heads, you pop the card. Kind of nice for just, additional spot removal. Keeping the Bandit Key theme, 2 copies of BM4 Blast Spider. This can target a face-up Dark Machine and a face-up card the opponent controls. Destroys both targets. Has some, neat synergies with not only the Desperado Barrel Dragon, but also with the Meklords you're playing. And also allows you, if a monster that you control that was a Dark Machine or is a Dark Machine, destroys something by battle or card effect, you can also burn your opponent for, the half of the attack of one of the destroyed monsters. And it's also just a very thick normal summon. 2200 defense is kind of nice. So yeah, that's rather lovely. Then getting into the Machina portion, we're playing 1 Citadel. This guy is like one of your main ways of interruption. This guy cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned by a card effect. Quick effect, you can target a machine monster you control, destroy both that machine monster and all monsters the opponent controls with attack less than or equal to the monster. And if a face-up Earth machine you control is destroyed while he's in the grave, he can revive himself. Just a very sick card. This guy is easily able to be put into rotation, either via redeployment or via Machina Overdrive. And then he's just one of your main interruptions alongside Meklord Empreror Wiesel. So yeah, Citadel's kind of sick. Absolutely amazing boss monster that you are able to get some good uses out of, because the popping also triggers some of your, your Desperado Barrel Dragon and your Meklord Emperors. 1 Fortress, just a very nice special summonable body that the opponent might not be able to cleanly out. Yeah, rather lovely for that, I do say so myself. Getting into the lower level Machinas, 1 Unclass Bear, if this is added to your hand by any means that isn't drawing it, you can reveal it, special it. If it's summoned, you can dump a Machina from deck to grave. Basically turns Machina redeployment into a rank 4 play plus Citadel on the field, which is rather nice. And the other half of those Machina level 4s are 2 copies of Machina Possess Storage. I know the ratios look a bit weird, but it just works, trust me. If this guy is summoned, he revives a Machina from grave in defense, but that Machina cannot use its effect this turn. So like turn 1, you go redeployment, pitch something, add Possess Storage, and Unclass Bear. and then you would reveal Unclass Bear to special it. Unclass Bear effect would dump your Citadel into the grave. Then you can normal summon Possess Storage. Possess will revive Citadel, and then you have a live Citadel on the follow-up, and you can make a rank 4 with those two. Which is rather nice. Definitely something you want to do in a lot of scenarios with this deck. As the rank 4, you will be summoning a Gigant X, which also gives you a lot of value, as it can search the next card, Meklord Empreror Wiesel, that you are playing 2 copies of. This guy cannot be normal summoned or set and must be special summoned by its own effect. If a face-up monster you control is destroyed by a card effect, which you do have a lot of ways to do on your own, with like the Blast Spider and the Citadel as mentioned before, or even the Machina Overdrive. And yeah, then he has like the Meklord Synchro Stealing effect. But the important part about this guy is he's a free spell negate, which is rather nice. So consistently you will find yourself able to end on Citadel plus this guy, and a board wipe and a spell negate is a rather good board going first. The one thing that's a bit rough about him, or was a bit rough about him in the Fusion event, was that while he's on the field, he's the only monster you control that can attack. But within an extra deck edition of something like a Link Karibo, because this funnily enough is a level 1, you are easily able to clear this guy off your board and get all your machines going. The other Meklord Emperor we're playing is Grenell. Grenell has a similar effect to Wiesel, as it has to be special summoned by its own effect. But he does not prevent other monsters you control from attacking, and he gains half your life points as his attack points, which makes him rather chunky. But the main reason why we're playing is because he's an Earth Machine, so that gives you a nice tie-in into the Machina portion, because if this guy gets popped, you can revive Citadel. Your Meklord normal summon are 2 copies of Nucleus Infinity Core. If this guy hits the board, you can add a Meklord spell or trap from deck to hand. And if he is destroyed by a card effect, you can special summon a Meklord Emperor monster from your hand or deck with the different attributes from the monsters you control. That is the important part you need to remember. That screwed me a few times where I want to summon Wiesel, but I already had Dark Machines on the field. So that's rather nice. This guy, of course, ignores summoning condition. Otherwise, he would not be able to summon the Meklord Emperors. But yeah, rather lovely consistency card. Summoning this, grabbing, assembly, and then having like an assembly that can grab the second copy for a follow-up turn is rather nice. Because you do have ways to recycle these machines, of course. In terms of powerful one-offs, the playing 1-for-1 is kind of a third copy of Nucleus. 1 caught by the grave against hand traps, and a terraforming to search heavy metal raiders. Just a very simple lineup here. 2 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. You do have a very decent target for this in Proton Blast, as you can banish this from the graveyard to make your Barrel Dragons not miss. But if you don't have any Barrel Dragons in rotation, you can also send a Machina Overdrive for some, easy recursion and also an additional draw on a potential follow-up turn, which is rather nice. So Foolish Burial Goods is a rather decent card for this deck. Then getting into, I guess, the archetypal spells again, starting with the Barrel Dragon stuff. 3 copies of Heavy Metal Raiders. The first time each Dark Machine monster you control would be destroyed by battle, it is not destroyed, and if you took battle damage, the monster gains that amount of damage as a, permanent attack boost, even if Heavy Metal Raiders leaves the field. But the most important part is if a Dark Machine monster you control destroys a monster your opponent controls, you can special summon another Dark Machine from your hand, which gives you some very nice board presence. Also makes Wiesel a bit rougher to out for the opponent, as he basically has to do so by a card effect. That is hopefully not a spell, because Wiesel can negate those. So yeah, that's a very nice synergy. And also this helps you get, those blowback dragons and maybe Desperados out of your hand in tough situations. Then we are playing 3 copies of the Machina consistency cards and redeployment. This either lets you discard a card and add 2 Machina monsters with different names from each other from deck to hand, or it discards a Machina card and adds 2 Machina cards with different names from each other from deck to hand. A very flexible search spell. I absolutely love this card. As previously mentioned, having this in hand easily enables you to go into a rank 4 play and have a Citadel live on the follow-up turn with, the previously mentioned 3 of Unclass Bear, Possess Storage, and Citadel. So that is rather nice. Moving into the Meklord consistency card now in Meklord Assembly. This is a very lovely card, continuous spell by the way. If it's activated, you can add a Meklord monster from deck to hand, which is rather nice, gives you more ways to get into your Meklord portion. It also explains why we're playing some rather weird ratios, because you are easily able to assembly, get an Infinity Core from there on out, then normal the Infinity Core, grab an assembly for the follow-up turn or for the first effect, because you can discard a card, target a monster you control, that monster gets destroyed, which of course gives you some nice ways to pop your monsters to trigger, you know, cards like Desperado Barrel Dragon in hand to trigger a potential Machina Citadel engrave, or you guessed it, maybe summon a Meklord Empereror from your hand, which is rather nice. So, you know, that is definitely a cool bit of synergy. Second effect sometimes came up in the fusion event, funnily enough, especially against True Draco, because if a face-up Meklord monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one other face-up spell or trap on the field, destroy it, which gave me some fun outs to, you know, a skill drain or some shit. But yeah, rather cool card. Playing 3 of this, just maxing out on it, so you're always able to grab one off your Infinity Core. To have, like, even if it's just for, like, discard fodder. Then playing 3 copies of Proton Blast. This is the Barrel Dragon continuous trap, I guess, because if a coin tossing effect is activated, you can apply following effects depending on the number of heads. If you got 1 head, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent. If you got 2, you can destroy a card your opponent controls, and if you got 3, you can look at your opponent's hand and rip 1 card out of their hand. But the most important part is the graveyard effect, because when an effect is activated that tosses 2 or more coins, while this is in the graveyard, you can banish it, and then make all results count as heads, which is rather nice, gives you a neat way to get those draws of Desperado, and turn Twin Barrel into a very safe normal summon and pop. Then the Machina trap card, 3 copies of Machina Overdrive. You can target a machine monster you control, pop it, summon a Machina with a different name from deck, which is the nice on-field effect, and also you can banish this from your graveyard to target 3 of your banished or in graveyard machines. Shuffle those back into the deck and draw 1, which gives this deck a surprisingly good grind game, I do have to say. So yeah, Overdrive's rather neat, makes your Citadel access even easier, as any normal summon machine gives you Citadel access with it. Capping off the main deck are 2 copies of Torrential Tribute. This is kind of a TCG inclusion, as I didn't want to play like a main deck Happy's Feather Duster in this, even if that would be also a very, very nice inclusion. Torrential Tribute is just a very good card that also has some synergies, because your monsters do sometimes benefit of getting popped by card effects, so having that Torrential also as an additional layer of interruption sometimes can be rather lovely. Going into the extra deck, 2 copies of Gigant X, rank 4 you can make with 2 level 4 machines. Detach material, add a level 4 lower machine from deck to hand. Funnily enough, as previously mentioned, this can grab you Emperor Wiesel, which is rather nice. So you do have easy ways to get him into rotation if you also get your Machinas going. Then 2 copies of Drill Driver Vespinado. You will put this in most cases on a spent Gear Gigant X, as it's 2500, a bit bigger, and if it's destroyed by an opponent's card, it floats into a level 4 monster from your graveyard, so you keep that value up, which is rather nice. Then, I guess, you know, if you're playing that many XZs, playing a small Zeus package of a heavy armored train Iron Wolf, this can detach a material to enable a machine monster you control to attack directly, and then, I guess, the Zeus. This doesn't need much introduction, I suppose. Rest of the extra deck for the XZs portion is just good rank 4s. Time Thief Redoer, Small Utopia package, Castle for monster removal, and Tornado Dragon for back row removal. No comment there. Really no-brainer inclusion in all honesty. And then going into the link lineup, having 1 Platinum Gadget here in case you need to get 2 machines off the board. A double-headed Anger Knuckle to have a Link 2 that is an Earth Machine. A Barricade Borg Blocker to have a Link 2 that is a Dark Machine. And a Link Kuriboh capping off the extra deck to have something that gets you the cheeky boy that is Wiesel off the board, so all your monsters are free to attack. In general, this doesn't really heavily rely on the extra deck. It's mostly here to act as like a toolbox, as you can probably tell from the rank 4 based nature of this. But in general, this is a rather fun, like, control style deck, I guess. That has a surprising amount of grind game, because in most cases something blows up and then just a big robot shows up out of your hand, out of your graveyard. It's just a lot of fun. I really loved piloting this in the Fusion event and even in the TCG testing this. It really did well, and it's just an incredibly fun time mashing these 3 things together and seeing how the surprising synergies turn out. sometimes it just works, I guess, if you throw random stuff together. But yeah, let me know your opinion on this down below in the comments. And with all that out of the way, I'll thank you guys very much for watching. See you guys again next time. But until then, goodbye.